Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Ireland Live for Wednesday, the 3rd of July, 2024. My name is Paul Fitzsimons. It's just, we said we try this tonight, pop up show, just because there's loads of stuff going on. And Kieran Malooly, is it that he's jumped ship now? He's gone to, we have a video there. I'm going to play that now in a minute of Herman. Herman's going to come on and talk in a few minutes as well. We have Orla there, but Orla has no devices connected, so we have a few more coming on as well. So I've sent out the link there to a few people. Jesus, we're smashing it already. We're up to 100 already. But what I'm going to go with first here, okay, I'm going to go with a video that Herman Kelly posted today about Maloney jumping ship. I have Martin Murphy there. Bear with me there. Hello, Martin. How are you? You seem to have your mic off.
Hey, Paul. How are you keeping?
Are you there? Okay, yeah. No, I'm just going to go with Herman's video from today. I don't know whether you've seen it or not, but I'm going to go with that video. I know Herman will be on in a few minutes to talk about it himself, so we'll go with that video. It's a couple of minutes long, and we'll come back then and we'll talk about it, okay?
Hello. Sometimes in politics, you're shocked by the stupidity of your enemies. And in this case, I'm not only shocked, but I'm disgusted that after all the empty promises before an election, that the Independent Ireland candidate, Kieran Malooly, has joined with the Renew Group. The Renew Group, now, they presented themselves, Independent Ireland, which is founded by Michael Collins, Richard O'Donoghue, and Micheál Fitzmaurice, a number of months ago, as a kind of common sense, nationalist, Eurosceptic, social conservative party. Well, it's all baloney from Malooly, because he joined the Renew Group. The Renew Group is the most EU federalist fanatic group in the whole European Parliament. His election poster was common sense and a common market, presented themselves as nationalist and Eurosceptic, and they come and join the most federalist fanatic group here. Within the Renew Group, the Independent Ireland Party joined up this European Democrat Party, which are in favour of, you wouldn't believe it, all the trans agenda, transsexual agenda, transnational agenda, who want to give the EU competence and take away national veto in the areas of education, of health, of energy. They want to scrap entirely any vestiges of Irish military neutrality in the European Union. They're in favour of car-free cities, anti-farming, anti-rural Ireland group within the European Parliament. They pushed for and supported the EU Migration Pact, which would mean the complete loss of Irish sovereignty over our immigration policy. They pushed the Nature Restoration Law, which is an EU land grab of good arable land along the banks of the Shannon. Now, during the election, Kieran Malooly said he opposed the EU Migration Pact, that he opposed the EU Nature Restoration Law, and here we are. He signed up in toto with the Renew Group in the European Parliament. It is a complete betrayal of all those people who voted for the Independent Ireland Party in this election. They were sold an absolute pig in a poke. They were lied to. They were misled. It's not only bad for the Independent Ireland Party, it's also bad for politics in general, because no one likes to be betrayed. Here is someone who promised one thing and once elected did the very opposite. It undermines confidence in all politics and all politicians, and so it's very bad for everybody. You may be aware that Renew already has as a member Fianna Fáil. So the Independent Ireland Party are basically, they're in with Fianna Fáil, they're now part of the establishment. And the only positive thing to come out of this, actually, I met Kieran Malooly today in the European Parliament. I thanked him for what he did, because it's very bad for the Independent Ireland Party and it's very good for the Irish Freedom Party. Because we have policies since the very beginning. We have never changed our policies or our principles. Another thing that the Renew and European Democratic Party are in favour of is EU-wide anti-free speech laws. The Irish Freedom Party, from the beginning, have been very strongly in favour, opposed to anti-free speech laws. We are in favour of a free people in a free country. And we believe in the sovereignty of the Irish people, the sovereignty of the Irish state. So we will be steadfast in our principles and in our policies. We stand up for individual freedom. We stand for national sovereignty. And we will hold to those policies and principles through thick and thin if it's popular or it's not popular. We don't care. We present our policies to the Irish people, and some of them are quite radical, and we do so because we believe these principles and these policies are necessary for a better Ireland, for a freer people in a better Ireland, and that's why we put them forward. So going forward, I would ask you to reassess. If you think these independents or independent Ireland are a way forward for Ireland, I believe that you have to reassess, and I hope and invite you in the general election coming to not vote for Independent Ireland with Ciarán Mullooly and the Renew group, be it Michael Collins, Michael Fitzmaurice and Richard Donoghue, but vote for candidates of the Irish Freedom Party, and I really appreciate that. And I would like to extend to the members and the elected councillors of Independent Ireland that I invite them to come and join the Irish Freedom Party, a party that believes what it says what it believes. We want a free people and an independent country that makes its own laws for the good of its own people. It's very simple. We don't rely on subterfuge, false promises, or any other type of false advertising. What we advocate is radical policies which get to the root of the problem for a better Ireland and a freer Ireland. So come and join us in the dance for a better Ireland. Go to Margaret, Slán Hispanic.
Well said, Herman. Yeah, that's exactly what we need to be saying, isn't it? Reach the hand out. I'd say he'll come on there now himself and he'll have a chat with us about it. But what do you think, Martin?
Yeah, spot on. We were chatting in the background there earlier on, and I think anybody who's signed up to that Independent Ireland, they probably didn't know what it was. They probably weren't told what it was. We now know what it is. It's Fianna Fáil light. So in reality, their intentions might have been good. Some of the people who joined up or signed up or even ran, they've been sold a crock of BS. Look, Irish Freedom Party is here waiting. If I really think people should have a look at. I shared our policies a lot online today, just so people can have a read of what it is and what we're about. Because look, you know yourself, a lot of people don't normally dig into these things. They just make a snap decision or snap judgment on who or what something is. So it's a case of we really need to get our policy out there and let people know who we are, what we're about. And the most important thing is, I think from the party's inception, we've stuck to our guns. We've 100% stuck to our guns. This is we don't flip flop. We don't change. We just say, look, this is what we believe is in the best interest of our country's future, and this is what we want to achieve. And that's very, very, very important.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We've stuck to this. Ireland is full. Ireland is still full and getting fuller. So a lot of people said it to me that my poster was a bit extreme with Ireland is full, you know. And I thought, look, I said, but it is full. I said, like, I'm only telling you how it is, like, you know what I mean? And you know, a lot of them came back to me then afterwards and said, yeah, you're right.
Well, look, I'm lucky in the sense that I don't need a doctor a lot, but I know a lot of people who you know have medical conditions and stuff like that, and just even to get to a GP. There's actually in September, it's going to be really interesting. There's a lot of secondary schools in the country that can't offer places to Irish students. There's actually going to be some kids in September who will have no school to go to, or else will have to travel a ridiculous distance to actually get to a secondary school.
That is crazy, isn't it?
If that isn't a sign that the country is full, then I don't know what is. I actually saw. Did you see? Some guy was putting up a map of they overlaid Ireland on top of South Korea.
I've seen a bit of it. Yeah.
So, and they were talking about the population and stuff like that. Now, I don't know about you. I don't fancy living in on the 64th floor of a tenement block.
Yeah. There's Anthony. How are you, Anthony? How's things, my friend?
How's things?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. Sneaking in, just giving the news that's going on. Bit crazy, huh?
It is a bit crazy, isn't it?
It is mad. Martin, how are you doing? Good to hear from you. Just on a side note, Martin did a great job in that interview. If anyone wants to listen back to it, I thought
very
it was
good,
really good on the radio. Yeah, fair play to you, Martin. What's the story, Paul? Is everyone with snakes among us or what?
Oh, I don't know. You know what I mean? But listen, Herman's going to come on and have a chat now in a few minutes, like, and what have you. But like, these independent Ireland crew and the likes of McNamara there jumping ship a few weeks ago as well. You know what I mean? It's they promised the electorate one thing and took it away from them. Like, you know what I mean? Here's the leader now. I'll bring the leader in now and he can have a chat with us. He's just fixing himself. I don't want to get his crotch. Here he comes. He can hear me now. I got him in. Hello there,
How's
my
that?
friend. How are you? Good, good.
Oh my
Just
god,
played-
it looks like someone out of Hammer House of Horror with the Too Strong a Life.
Yeah,
How's that?
I played your video there, the video you did earlier.
Okay.
And,
Oh,
I have,
so I can't repeat all my lines. I have to come up with new ones. Damn.
listen, no problem to you, mate. You know what I mean? No problem to you. But myself and Martin were just saying it as well, like about with McNamara jumping ship a few weeks ago as well, and promising the sun, the moon, and the stars, and not coming through on it. You know, I'm going to just bring Orla up here. I'm going to bring us into the 6-man studio here. There we go, 3 and 3. Have we got 3 and 3? That's yeah. Cool. How is everyone? How's Orla? Go ahead, Herman. Let's hear you.
Well, it truly is disgusting what has happened that 2 candidates, one who ran as an independent, former Labour Party member, I believe he's married to a very senior Fianna Fáil lady involved with a relation of Patrick Hillary, I was told tonight, and that the Independent Ireland Party, because it's not just that Kieran Mullooly signed up to the Renew group in the European Parliament, and there's also joined this European Democratic Party. Also, the Ireland Independent Party joined it as well. So they've signed up to the agenda, and that they have a party whip. You just can't do and say and vote how you like when you join one of these federalist parties. You have to vote along the new party line. And when you look at the agenda of this European Democratic Party, you see there it's well laid out there in grit. They're in favour of an EU-wide anti-free speech law. They're in favour of the nature restoration law, which is an EU land grab, which Kieran Mullooly argued against again and again. I attended a IFA meeting along with him. Where they want to remove the veto. They want EU competence in areas of energy, of health, of education, which is a huge new swathe of powers for the EU. What was the other one? They want to get rid of completely any vestiges of military neutrality across the European Union. So everybody would have to sign on to a common EU defence and military association, etc. So that, and to think that his poster during the election was common sense and a common market, given the impression of Ireland, independent Ireland, that they're kind of nationalist, Eurosceptic, socially conservative party. It was all a pack of complete lies. These people are chancers. They have lied. They have misled the Irish people. And the sooner we get rid of these people, the better. Do you know what? I didn't say anything about Kieran Mullooly. I didn't say anything against him. I didn't say anything at all about independent Ireland coming up to the election. But now that they've shown their true colours, I will be opposing them completely, as I've done tonight. And I would say to the members and to the councillors of Independent Ireland who I'm sure feel completely betrayed by what has occurred because of the decisions of the leadership of the party, that I personally, on behalf of our candidates and our members, I put out a warm personal invitation for them to join the Irish Freedom Party, and where they will be as men and women who love the country, who want a free people in a free country. They will be very welcome in the Irish Freedom Party, so they can shake off the dust from their sandals of independent Ireland, and they can come and join a proper political party with people who say what they believe and believe what they say, which will be, after months of being in independent Ireland, will be a complete novelty.
Now, does that offer extend to independents or just independent Ireland, other independents too? People who could have been elected or
Well,
you know.
it's the invitation is open to every sensible, rational nationalist who wants a free people in a free country and wants an independent Ireland. Of course,
Well,
we make it
yeah.
very clear that our policies are individual freedom and national sovereignty. And if you believe in those pretty simple principles, you're very welcome in the Irish Freedom Party.
If you believe in those principles, the IFP is the only show in town, really, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Like
You
it's actually, I'm actually pretty shocked, and I've been involved in the European Parliament for 15 years, but I can't believe that the extent of the betrayal, and in such a short time, and for what benefit? For what benefit? Like I met him today in the European in the canteen of the European Parliament, and I actually thanked him on behalf of the Irish Freedom Party for doing what he did, because it's terrible for Independent Ireland Party, but it's fantastic for ourselves. It's sad to say that what is bad for the party is, but you know what? If that's exactly the way they thought, well, people should know about it. I only wish that he told people before the election that this is what they were going to do. But it's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah. Well, I'll be campaigning now around here, wherever, and I'll be talking about Sinn Féin, what they've done. I'll be talking about the Green Party with their hoaxes and their bullshit. So, yeah, I think we'll
and
all
if they want to present themselves as Independent Ireland, sorry, you just joined up with Fianna Fáil. You're in the same group as Fianna Fáil, and, well, everything to do with anti-free speech laws, nature restoration law, military neutrality, all these different issues, they are in a group with Fianna Fáil, and they've signed up to policies along with this Europe Independence, sorry, what do you call them again? European Democratic Party, whatever, European Democrat Party within Renew. Their policy agenda is completely opposed to everything we stand for. So we will be opposed to Independent Ireland as much as Sinn Féin, as much as the far left.
Yeah, exactly. Anyone else?
Actually, you know what? Maybe we should have known. Maybe we should have worked it out before the election that this is a guy, he was presenter for a long time for RTE. Well, would you expect for anybody who was presenter for RTE to be kind of Eurosceptic and nationalist? No.
Well, we did say it. We did say it on the show here a couple of weeks ago on the Irish column. Do you remember, Anthony? We said it about McNamara, that he was there he was just put in we did say it about him. The other fella, Malooly, no, but like we did say it about McNamara, you know.
Yeah, and also like Malooly also made comments about Kelly Harrington when she brought up the thing about dangerous mass immigration of unvetted males into other foreign countries. She made comments about a girl who was murdered, trying to highlight that, and of course he jumped on her bones immediately. So people should have known, well, actually maybe he is in favor of mass immigration, but what has happened here, it's just not him personally, it is the Independent Ireland Party has signed up to the Renew group and this European Democratic Party as well, and all their policies. So that's why we will oppose them. So Independent Ireland, started by supposedly good guys of Michael Collins, Richard Donoghue, and Micheál Fitzmaurice. You've never heard any of these guys ever talk about mass immigration, about trying to cut down on immigration at all. And suppose, you know what? They try to present themselves as kind of conservative country group, but clearly they're not. They try to write in the coattails of people like Carol Nolan that, oh yeah, we're in people's minds, they're associated with good TDs like that, Carol Nolan, Mattie McGrath, but clearly they're not. Yeah. And that's probably the reason why Mattie McGrath and Carol Nolan were not members.
Yeah. Someone just put up a message there. Would you be in favour of removing dual citizenship for non-natives, Herman? Too extreme.
I haven't really given it much thought. I'm just not going to reply on policy issues just off the top of cuff. And because I am the president of the party, but the party policy is made at the RDS, and I'm just going to make it up off the cuff on a question as a general rule.
Yeah, cool.
So I'm you know what? If you have an Irish passport, your loyalty, it's very clear, your loyalty should be to the Irish people and the Irish nation. And I don't see how that is commensurate with citizenship of another country. Just like in regards of loyalty. I know with many countries you have to make a decision. I believe with America, I'm not 100% sure, but if you take citizenship of many countries around the world, you have to renounce the citizenship of a former one. Because it's just like, how can you be loyal to two countries at the one time?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. Orla, anyone else? What do you think?
Well,
By
what
the
I'm
way,
saying in the
people-
group,
Sorry, just for a sec. We're smashing this, by the way. We're up to 700 there already. We're only on 20 minutes. Nice one. Keep sharing this, people. Go ahead, Orla. Sorry.
yeah, no, just what I was saying in the group earlier on was like, I think what's so disappointing is that we were getting an awful lot of messages in through our social media. People asking, you know, if there wasn't a nationalist party to vote for, who could they vote for? And we were recommending them to vote for an independent. Like, that's a bit of a kick in the arse now to us, you know, because we were like saying, yeah, vote for them if there's no other options, you know what I mean? And then this happens.
Or like Independent Ireland are a separate and distinct political party. They're not a group of independents.
Yeah.
They've obviously chosen a name to confuse people.
Yeah.
And they completely contradict their name, Independent Ireland, where clearly when they go and join the most federalist fanatic group in the European Parliament, this crowd Renew are even more centralising and fanatical than the EPP. So when you go and look at the policies that this party have, and they're obviously whipped, these people have to vote along with us, with the Renew group, that they are completely opposed to the idea of an independent Ireland. They want a centralised European Union with no vetoes on any areas, and Ireland to a bankers union, energy union, basically monetary union. It's basically they want to form a single, an other independent state called the European Union. That is what Renew stand for, and so-called Independent Ireland signed up for that. So it's just, look, even their party title is a complete lie.
Is it ignorance, or was it a ploy from the start? And do you, like, with a general election looming, do you not think they've just committed suicide essentially?
I think well, hopefully enough people will hear about this. Now you'll see in that election that people like ourselves, the Irish Freedom Party, like in that election, the European election, I were put out before me because of voters' intentions. The Green Party, the Social Democrats were put out. The Labour Party were put out before me. The difference between me and all these people who went out before me is that these other people were on TV virtually every night on RTE and RTE radio. I wasn't allowed any time on RTE television or radio, and yet, you know, so Maloney got plenty of time on TV, plenty of time on national radio. I don't know the thought processes of these people who were involved, but it was absolutely disgusting what they did.
100%.
And hopefully enough people will find out, and it's our job to tell these people that these people are in a party with Fianna Fáil. They're no more anti-establishment than the man in the moon. They're a sheriff chancellors who've betrayed their voters. They missold themselves. They advertised falsely. Like Independent Ireland, and they're anything but.
Just on TV coverage there, Herman, the letter that went in to RT from the nationalist parties, was there ever a response given to that?
Yes, they came out the next day. They came out the next day and basically said, look, I got a letter from them as well before I saw an email from RT basically saying, look, there's been a number of court cases about this time allocation on TV, and basically we won them all. We can do whatever we want. So you can see with the people who were chosen that, for example, in the one in the Midlands Northwest, you had Peter Casey, who hasn't been active in politics for quite a few years now. You had Saoirse McHugh, who's not a member even of the Green Party, but she was allowed on. And at the same time, you even had Pauline O'Reilly, who was the Green Party senator. So they were all allowed on this debate for the Midlands Northwest. None of them had really a strong chance, according to either the polls or the bookmakers. So it's just a random assortment of people that they like, that they would choose. They just thought, RT, we can do as we like. And you can take court cases to your blue in the face. It'll always come out in our favour. It's basically, look, it is the establishment media propaganda outlet. We've been excluded. I don't know. We just have to get these people out of power. We use social media and word of mouth. And it's about time that I think it was only roughly about 50% of the people actually voted in that last election. Well, there's another 50% we still have to wake up. People have to recognize that our country's been sold away. It's been sold in the river in front of our eyes. And if we want a future for our children in Ireland, we've got to do something about it. So we have to talk to all our friends, family, relations, and neighbours and get them woken up, get them registered, and get them voting.
Yeah, sure.
RTE will just do exactly as they want. Look, our policy in regards to RTE is it should be a private subscription. If people want it, they pay for it. If they don't want it, they shouldn't be forced by power of the state to buy a TV license. I believe people should read the book, The Lost Revolution, about the Workers' Party, Sinn Féin, the Workers' Party, where basically a small number of fanatical Marxists and internationalists got into the media, in the print and in the broadcast and radio. And our team, there was many members of the Workers' Party who ideologically took over organizations such as RTE, became very prominent in the formation of this anti-nationalist culture, and they've been given a free ride for decades, and that's what we have to overcome. I don't believe RTE deserve a shred of people's tax money from the Irish people. It should be self-financing. If people want to buy it, let them pay a private subscription. That's my view.
Yeah.
Another 20 million today they got. Another 20 million. Come on.
That's why they're doing as they're told.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, you have it. But like I seen a video there of your man Backhorse there today. Yeah, he was talking about getting the 20 million. Like, didn't they get 54 million already? Like that'll be 74 million that they've got this year. Like, you know what I mean? What
you can understand why RTE are so compliant with the establishment, as they're subsidized by the taxpayer, by the state. They're the state broadcaster. They can talk about independent to their blue in the face, but they are the state broadcaster. And if you want to ask, just follow the money.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. And I said in the last on the last chat that journalists take an oath like a doctor, and they are supposed to be neutral, and they're not.
No. Sure, we had a journalist a few months ago, BJ's was orchestrating a riot up in Coolock, you know what I mean? So
Paul Connolly.
Journalists aren't neutral, you know what I mean? They print what they're told, you know.
And I have drawn attention in videos that I've done. Actually, it was even mentioned in Irish Times a few months ago. This revolving door between journalistic outlets in Ireland and also then advisors into government ministers, because it's well paid. There's been at least a dozen former journalists who just switched from being journalists to advisors to ministers, just like that. So when people have their eye, they're working as journalists, but they're having their eye cocked on a possible position as an advisor to a minister, that really compromises their journalistic ethics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a bleeding fly flying around here. I'm trying to catch it. I'm like your man, your man in the doll, him that chases the flies. That's how I'm like trying to catch this. He's on my screen now. But
that's what you get. That's what you get, Paul, for living in Hollywood.
Yeah, I know. Flies and spoilers everywhere. But I just wanted to go with a video here of what Harris said today. He had 8 points that he brought up today that they have done. Now, from what I can see, they've done nothing. But let's just see if he can.
And let me absolutely agree. that there's a huge body of work that we need to do in relation to Dublin City Centre. And let me tell you 8 things we're doing. We're putting body cams on our Gardaí, a key tool in terms of helping with public safety and Garda safety, and we've started that in Dublin. Secondly, we've legislated to increase the sentence for assault causing harm and to increase sentencing for anyone who attacks a member of an Garda Síochána or another emergency worker. Second measure. Third thing we're doing is this month we will bring forward more proposals from Minister Donoghue and Minister McEntee in terms of more efforts we can put in place to support the Gardaí based on what we've heard from Gardaí on the front line. Fourthly, we're legislating in relation to knife crime. That legislation was in this House, in this door today. Fifthly, we are providing extra money for more Garda overtime. That's not a statistic, it's €28 million in order to fund more Garda hours on the streets of our capital city and across our country. The sixth thing we've done, we've established a Dublin City task force, and we're willing to work with you, work with people across the opposition, across Dublin, to see how we can pull everybody together as to what a safe, vibrant Dublin looks like. Seventh, we've put in place Operation Irene, a specific Garda multi-agency operation for the summer months to tackle antisocial behaviour. And the eighth thing we've done in a very practical sense, because we do need more Gardaí, we've seen 157 of them come out to Templemore last Friday, and we've assigned 102 of them to Dublin. They're real practical measures.
Wow. Dave, okay, so what he said here at the end, 157 came out last weekend, okay? But there's 500 left last year. There was 10 guards a week left last year. They have not been... 157 is not cutting the mustard for me, you know what I mean? What do you think yourself with that?
Yeah, give all those 8 points to the Canadian man.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly,
so he's just like we've all been in the city centre recently. It's just I try and avoid Dublin at all costs. No offense to the Dubs, but I'm not a shy man by any means, but I don't feel safe walking around Dublin.
It's not offense to the Dubs, Martin. You'd be hard stretched to find many Dubs around central Dublin now as you're walking along, I would say.
True,
yeah.
Because you're walking up Middle Abbey Street and you think, what country am I in? It looks a bit like it's all Roma. It's like Slovakia, or Romania, or Bulgaria, or something like that there. But sometimes I think you're really a minority in your own country when you're walking along there in central Dublin now.
That's the Canadian tourist who was assaulted. He died yesterday, I think it was it? Yeah, I think it was yesterday or Monday. But a 41-year-old Canadian tourist who was assaulted in Dublin, he was assaulted by a migrant as well, wasn't he? A Roma gypsy or a Romanian or something?
Somebody from Romania.
Yeah, he sustained injuries where he passed away this afternoon. So this is crime again. Crime and migration, they're saying it's not linked. And
Paul, we always talk about this, Paul. We were always saying that, the difference between Ireland and other EU nations other EU countries is that we don't equate crime with ethnicity, and we don't do it on purpose. We're getting to realise that Ireland haven't been doing this for years on purpose. It's the same way Ireland have allowed for these people to vote. It seems like it's a long time in the making, and it's bizarre to me. We're taking in more than the average EU country, and now with the EU pact snuck in, we're going to be taking more again. We're liable to take more again. And if independent Ireland, aren't someone who's going to stand up for control over mass immigration, obviously independent candidates can't do that, and New Ireland's not going to do that now, as we see. So it becomes clear to see, it's very obvious when you walk the streets, crime is on a rise, and the Irish people are less and less a common sight. It's not long until they're a minority in this country. So really, it's kind of a blank, obvious choice with any sense, that you need a strong party who can take back control for the Irish, to look after the Irish. Crime is something, whatever about inflation, whatever about all these other issues, crime is something you just cannot tolerate. And when you have Simon Harris out saying, Helen McEntee, we're going to take in thousands next year, hate speech bills, and no other parties coming to argue with a point on that. I think it's a scary Ireland. We have a general election coming up. It's a scary Ireland to think of the opposition out there and the people won't vote. And this is the big pull. People need to get out and vote. They need to get out and vote for people who will control. We're smart enough and intelligent enough to have our own sovereignty to choose these things. I think with the right TDs in place, they'll take back with the Irish voice, and I think that's the main important point.
How did France get such a high turnout? It was something like it was in the 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah.
76 or 78%, yeah.
Yeah. So
I think I was talking to Gavin, myself and Gavin Pepper were here last Sunday night, I think it was, or whatever night it was. He was here with me, and we were having a chat about it. What I'm going to do is as well, I'm going to bring laptops with me. I have 2 tablets. I'm going to bring the tablets with me, and I'm going to register people at the doors. I think that's what we have to do. We have to make sure people are registered to vote, and that they're going to vote for us. We need to give them a good alternative, you know what I mean? But I think mainly they need to be registered to vote, because the amount of people that's not registered to vote is crazy. I know a couple just lives beside me here, went over there to vote in Ongar, and they weren't allowed to vote. And yeah, there was people coming in that were only here a few weeks showing a PPS number.
Yeah.
Like, these people are here years, they're on the social welfare, they're on this, they're on that, you know what I mean? And they weren't allowed to vote. How many other people were there like that weren't allowed to vote? You know,
Yeah, sure.
don't know.
Were there people, Paul, could I ask, they just showed a PPS number and they were allowed to vote? They weren't even on the register? Surely not.
They had no, listen, I saw the table in Ongar. There was a table just in the door to the left, and it was full the 3 times, or I went over 3 times, and the second and third time I went over, the table was full. I didn't know what the table was. And it was only later on that night when I went in, and your man, the guy in the count centre, says, "Oh, that was all the foreigners." He said they had no voting cards, and we had to go through check them through whatever to get them through. Now, they had interpreters and all there, Herman. You know, come on.
But like, they weren't on the voting register and they were still allowed to vote?
They had no cards, you know, voting cards. They had
no
registering
cards.
No register, yeah. So they just came in and Okay. But yet the 2 Irish people I know went over, they weren't allowed.
Well, I given your show there, was it 2 weeks ago, gave the example of a guy who's a member of our party. He's from Ballina originally. It was discussed to see what was going on with Ballina, the plantation centres. There, he asked, could he stand as a candidate? And he came back within about a week, said, I've researched it myself and I'm really sorry, but I'm actually legally not allowed to stand as a candidate because I'm no longer ordinarily resident in Ballina, in the state. And yet, at the same time, some guy can come from Somalia, land in Dublin on a Ryanair flight from wherever, Brussels, and he can be in the country a wet week, and he can be registered, have an identity card. He can come in, claim that he's got no passport, get in an identity card with a new name, fictitious name, and he's allowed to vote in our country. We don't know his name, where he's from. We don't know, does he have a criminal record? And yet a guy like that would be allowed to vote in our local elections, and yet an Irish guy cannot vote or stand as a candidate. Oh, what? And this guy from Somalia with a false name would also have been allowed to stand as a candidate. So that's ridiculous. We will put an end to that. Carry on.
Yeah, exactly.
That is just unbelievable. Only Irish citizens should be allowed to vote in Irish elections. And I would say this is very, very important. Taxpayers' money, I believe, should only go to Irish citizens. We've got to stop the draw factor. People are coming here for free stuff, free medical care, free welfare, free education for the kids, etc., etc. We've got to stop the free stuff for foreigners. No Irish taxpayers' money should go to non-Irish citizens. And if people come here, one, they shouldn't be allowed in here. We don't know if they come here illegally. We don't know who they are. But we've got to stop the financial draw factors for people getting free stuff. And once we stop that, I'm very confident we won't need to bring in any laws about deportation. They will fall away from Ireland like snow off a cast iron gate in May.
Yeah, and it's not just what Martin said. And Martin's right in saying it's the GP lists and it's the school lists and our system's already under pressure. But it's not only that. Like, we've seen nursing homes that have evacuated people saying they couldn't go in business and turn into IPAS centres. You've seen this kind of thing, or refugee accommodation. Like, you've seen tourism die. Like you only have to look at Carlow there, Orla, and you're from Carlow, died an absolute death. These small little towns who are getting outnumbered, and people are. It's not just the fear factor, but the local businesses, like the list of knock-on effects is unbelievable. Like, Irish culture, is dying to death. Even I've seen statues having to be covered over because it's offensive to immigrants, like Our Lady statue and stuff like that. It's absolute disgrace how we're rolling over and allowing it to happen.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
Oh yeah,
We
don't know,
have
Paul.
Sorry,
we have
go ahead.
a place here in Carlow called St. Bridget's, and it used to be a nursing home. It used to be a hospital, a maternity hospital years ago. Then it was turned into a nursing home, and it's been closed for the last 20 years. Auntie is going to know where I'm talking about. And it was earmarked for years and years to be a woman's refuge, right? It's got place for 142 people, right? It's been lying idle for 20 years. Carlow is in a desperate state as well for needing, we'll say, like a minor injury clinic, as well. That's another desperate need. Never mind, turning it back into a nursing home again. But what did it turn into? An IPAS centre. Like it lay there for 20 years. And never mind the women's refuge or the minor injury clinic or a nursing home or something like that could have been used. That's what it ended up being used for.
And right beside another IPAS centre. And right
Yeah,
across the road from another
just a
IPAS
few
centre.
feet down the steps, down the road, there's another IPAS centre called the Friary. The Capuchin monks used to be there. And I think there's about 50 in there. Across the road, there's another place, B&B. Ukrainians are in there. And in between St. Bridget's and in between the Friary, there's another hotel, and Ukrainians are in there as well. That's one street in Carlow. And there has to be an increase of about 400 people on that one street. And there's one doctor's there. So where are all those people going to go to the doctors? That one doctor's on that one street.
And you know what? It's Irish people getting up every morning to go to work, to pay taxes, to give the government, who are handing over our money to all these foreigners, and think we owe these people absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. And when we think of the sacrifice of our parents, our grandparents, our great-grandparents, those who came before us for generations, right? Who fought, who survived the famine, the hardship they had to go through, that they were the ones who built the roads. They were the ones who built the hospitals. They were the ones who, in their poverty, built the schools for us to have. And yet we're handing it over all these facilities to foreigners. It's just really, it's got to stop. We just got to stop giving
it also has
free
that knock-on
stuff to all
effect.
these people.
Yeah, it also has that knock-on effect as well. Like across from the hotel, now it's not a big hotel on Dublin Street, there is a pizza place. And like the owners of that have said that they do not know how much longer they can stay in business because there's now no tourism along that street because the B&B is filled with Ukrainians. The hotel is filled with Ukrainians. There is no tourists. There's no people going to the pub at night. So like then they're not coming out and going to the Chippers, the pizza place. So he says he doesn't know how much longer he can stay, in business. And that's a direct impact of what they've done to Dublin Street.
And Martin said the same about Clonmel on the radio as well. How it's changing to a dangerous place. It's funny, that same street is Dublin Street in Carlow, and it's the same street they have. Not to get on a different topic, but it's the same kind of push of ideologies and agendas. It's the same street that has the LGBT crossing. That they taxpayers' money, $7,000 to pay for. It's a street that no one can walk down. For any reason. They're just making it a new Ireland street. I don't know. And it's the same street that has the new cameras going. It's just bizarre, but the danger is really, you can't drive down that street without seeing 50 or 60 people in and out of that building. And they cross the road, they don't look twice at you. It's just scary. Even the crime in Carlow has gone up significantly. So, and we're only talking about one town. Of course, we know this is happening everywhere. We're talking about Dublin City. We were talking about Clonmel on the radio the other day. Ireland is at a 10-year peak of crime, and that's after happening over the last 1 to 2 years. And because we don't equate crime with ethnicity, we can't actually talk about it. And you hear them using this line all the time on the radio and RTE and all that. We can't actually equate this. You can't actually say that. It's like, come on now. We're not stupid here. Everyone knows.
Do you know how they? Do you know how they got around that in the States? Because they do record crime by ethnicity over in the States. So in the Democrat-run states, they just recorded everybody as white, even though the mugshots beside them, you could clearly tell they weren't white. But they just started to basically drop the crime statistics because the Democrats say, we all know what they're like over in the States. They're hellholes. But that's how they got around it. They actually just literally mugshot. guy from Mexico, white. You know, mugshot, guy from African heritage, white.
Well, have you seen the Garda Patrol thing that's on now? It was a crime call. There was a guy on it. A Chinese one did it a few weeks ago, and it was ridiculous. And that man was from Coloc, and you want to she couldn't even speak English, the girl. Okay, and she was fronting this, but they showed this guy, okay, that robbed the shop. The guy he looked as black as the ace of spades, but he had the skin all, grayed out, like that. He looked like a white man, but he had lips on him like Eddie Murphy. You know what I mean? Come on, you can't hide this shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's what they're trying
But you know
to
what?
do.
When you look at the statistics, the collected statistics of other countries in Europe, be it Germany, be it Sweden, it's extremely clear that there's a very causal link between large-scale immigration of unvetted males into the country and increasing crime, serious crime. So a non-Swede is, and this is government statistics, it's not me just making it up, a non-Swedish man is 2.5 times more likely to commit rape or sexual assault in Sweden compared to a Swedish man. Right? And in Germany, they had a very large-scale study there a number of years ago in Lower Saxony, and they found that in 2015 to 2016, there was a 10% increase in serious crime, and 92% of that increase was carried out by new migrants into the country. So, look, young men with nothing to do and nothing to fear are going to commit crime. That would be the same if people went from Armagh. If you had 500 young men of 21 moved into Monaghan, they would be an increase in crime. That's just the way life is. And it's augmented hugely if they come from various different cultures and with completely different values, especially that pertain of rape and sexual assault when it comes to the view of woman. And we all know we're basically talking about countries like Afghanistan, Pakistan, Somalia, the Muslim countries. Their attitudes towards woman and sexual assault are very different from Western values.
Yeah, I was only listening to the video of that girl today. The Irish Inquiry did a video with the girl that was raped by your man in 2019. I think Derek Lloyd did a video with her before as well. Yeah, but she's not being helped. Like this is twice this guy did this in Ireland. The same sort of attack. She looked like the whole lot. Plus, he had been done in France, I think, for something similar. The passport wasn't checked, the Interpol stuff wasn't checked, and this man was allowed to come in here and do that. And now this young lady, she's still only a child. She's only blatant 24 or 25. She has no home now, and the government have just left her. Tough shit.
And it's more to Herman's point as well, Paul, because if you look at the court case there in the book of evidence and all, he said that in my country we don't have to ask.
Yeah. That's my culture,
and the problem is as well, yes, if you carry a load of young men into a certain area, especially young men, single men, it's also from areas and countries like Algeria and Albania that have a massive crime that would not be safe for you to go on holidays to. You wouldn't choose to go there necessarily either because the crime rate is so high. So what do you expect is going to happen if you put out invitations in all these different languages to areas that have a massive crime rate? It's reckless.
I did a video there, I think it was before Christmas, in Carnlough Hotel in just north of Dundalk, and I basically brought up statistics about Algeria. I think it was in Italy and Germany, and just their propensity for violence, their conviction rate for serious crime in these countries in mainland Europe is just immense. I think it's like a factor of 11 times compared to local men, that they're 11 times more likely to commit serious offences compared to ordinary people. Even compared to other countries in the Maghreb, like Tunisia, for example, Algeria is just off the scales. So we should be very careful. We should be extremely selective of the people who come into Ireland, of the countries that they come from. We've got to know, one, do we need them? If we don't need them, nobody should come into Ireland. And if we do need them, that they've no criminal record at all, and they have no propensity, they accept our values, and two, that they've got they have qualifications that they can actually contribute something to Ireland. And they're only, but bottom line is, if we don't need them, they don't come in. Simple as that. But we should know who they are, where they're from, and do they come from cultures with high propensity for violence? Because if they do, we don't want them. We've got to send them back.
Yeah, absolutely true. Guys, I have to jump off. But great chatting to you. Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Andy.
Cheers, mate. Take care. Go on.
There was a very I wouldn't class it as a funny story, but it was just the way it happened. The very first night we had the protest outside the Friary in Carlow, there was a few hundred on the streets. And of course the guards were like up and down keeping an eye, and there was no trouble whatsoever. And all of a sudden the guards went flying by with the lights flashing, right? Everyone was like, oh my God, what's going on? Do you know what they were after? A man was running around one of the local estates with a knife, and he was a foreign man. But yet all of us that were on the streets at the protest caused no trouble. Like, you just had to laugh at it, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it was just ridiculous. And then there was another incident this girl was telling me about, JD Sports in Carlow Town, where a foreign man went in and exposed himself. And the guards came, they arrested him, right? And he was taken away. The next day, he was back in again, exposing himself again. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, why, like, if they're being arrested for something like that, and then they're just let out the next day to go and do the same thing all over again. It's just ridiculous. And then they're worrying about what we're doing.
Yeah, exactly. But over the last couple of weeks, over the last few weeks here now, there's been attempted abductions. I think there's 3 kids gone missing since Friday. Teenagers, one in Navan, one in Dublin, and I think one in Kildare or somewhere down around there, gone missing. Now, and I haven't seen any updates to say they were found. But this is like, and then there's a guy there. I think I have it there. I'm just gonna hang on. Where are we? No, I haven't got it there. I should have downloaded it. It's just where they chased this guy yesterday. There was a guy yesterday in Tala in Toyman North, and he was sitting there drinking vodka, asking little girls, did they want vodka? They're come on, I'll get my friends to come, we'll bring you to the party. And of course, the father caught them. One of the fathers caught them and knocked the shit out of him. Listen,
where was that, Paul?
That's going to happen. It was in Tala. It was in Toyman North. I might have it there. Just bear with me there. Yeah, it was Toyman North, I think it was, yeah. But where are we? Toyman North, there it is there. I'm just going to share this here. Let me share the screen, just bear with me. But share the screen, yeah. Boom, boom, boom. There it is there. Please, everyone. Oh, that's Rathnew. Sorry, that's another one. That's Rathnew. I'll put up the Toyman North one now in a minute. Please, everyone around Rathnew, keep close eye on your kids and an even closer eye. These men are floating around. This man in particular tried to give 2 small little girls some vodka and tablets and asked them to go with them. He dragged the child by the arm, groped her by feeling her chest, threw vodka in her eyes and she couldn't see. Asked her in the exact words, dance with me, dance for me, baby girl, and told them he was ringing his friends to bring them back to a party. And yes, he got exactly what he deserved. There's the daddies punching him and what have you. Like, this is only going to get worse, lads. This is only going to, one of them is going to get killed by somebody for doing this.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to happen here. And the far right are going to be the worst thing since sliced bread. Do you see me far right? Look, when I grow the moustache, I get the little black bit like Hitler. Look. Look at it. I'm going to have to shave off that moustache.
Well, basically, the definition of far right is anybody who doesn't believe that men can't get pregnant. Simple as that. It's so crazy. What they call far right is like, it's like we're only advocating ideas, policies, and principles that 30 years were accepted by all the political parties.
Yeah.
The equality of all citizens before the law, that Ireland should be safe, that anybody can just walk into our country, that the importance of family, of future for our country, that people should be rewarded for the work that they do. Like all these basic things that we say, that these were accepted, the importance of free speech and political debate, etc. These things were accepted by all the main political parties 30 years ago. But now that because they've become so extreme, dominated in their ideas by the far left and the media, that they've all gone far left. And it's almost like the tide has gone out and we are left standing on the beach with the tide gone out and we look peculiar. But really we're only advocating ideas that were the foundation of our society and culture only a short time ago.
Yeah,
They are
there's
they are the extremists. They are the ones advocating that drag queens should be going around gyrating their ass in front of kids of 6 and 8. You know,
this pride that just does my head in altogether. Like, listen, what are they proud of? What are they proud of? Let's be honest about it. Like, what is there to be proud of? You know what I mean? It's disgraceful what they do. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to do all that gay sex and all that shit you do it at home. Nobody wants to be seeing this in the middle of the street. Even St. Patrick's Day, I was in town last year and I done it. And you want to see them on the floats. It was disgraceful. Nothing got to do with Irish culture or it's just sickening, like, you know. But here's this thing here. I'm just going to read this here for you. This was posted today, and I seen another one about 3 fellas taking pics of a child in the social welfare today as well. Something needs to be done. Ladies, be careful. This man tried to get into my car outside 4-Star Pizza in Tala Village. While I was in the car, I ran into 4-Star Pizza, and he waited until I came back out. Only for the man that walked in the shop walked me back to the car. He stood there feeling himself. Our roads are not safe, and it's such a scary place. This is the Dublin that McEntee and O'Gorman has created. It's ridiculous. Like and it's not being publicized on RTE. Nobody sees this unless we show it or it gets shown on Twitter or whatever. We need to be pushing this out constantly. Like, you know what I mean? We really do, because the more people see this, the more people will get on board with us, I think, especially if we're fighting against all this shit, like, you know?
Yeah.
Excuse me, French.
Yeah. But where did you ever have all these abductions or attempted abductions of kids? I mean, you were probably lucky if you went 3-4 years without an attempted abduction of a child. And now it seems to be on a weekly basis.
Twice a week. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gone ridiculous. I have my daughter now. I said, someone stops in the car. I said, you run. I said, don't stop. Don't talk to anyone. Just get out of there. You know, my young one's only 12. You know what I mean? Like, Jesus Christ, man, it's hard now at this moment that I'm trying to, you know, you're trying to give her a bit of independence with her friends, and then you're worried sick in case something happens, because I know and you know what's really going on out there. You know,
well, my daughter's 13. Yeah, like she's 13. I won't let her down the town. I have to, like today, she wanted to go to the cinema. She was allowed to just go across to Tesco to get some sweets. But I had to go and pick her up to bring her then down to Mr. Price, then to bring her somewhere, to bring her to another shop, then to bring her home, like a taxi service, because it is not safe for her to walk around the town.
Well, other people will tell you you're mental, Ola. You're mental.
Well, I'd rather be, what's that saying? I'd rather be far right than far wrong.
Yeah, no, yeah, right so far we are. That's what we are.
Yeah.
You're just right. You're just right, Orla. You're just right again.
Yeah. But like, if anything happens to our kids, we don't get that back. There's no comeback from that. Yeah. Like, if something happens to one of our daughters or our sons, there's no comeback from that.
Yeah. Look, if that child
and like,
in Cork,
it's coming in Carlow, it definitely is. It's because of the amount of immigrants that's in Carlow town is just shocking. And there is going to be a serious incident one of these days.
Well, that's what I tell the parents here. Like I'm on the football team there, and we're talking about it, you know, and we're talking about giving the kids a bit of freedom. And like, I won't let my kids go over to Ongar at all. None of them, unless one of us is with them. Ongar is just far too dangerous. It's full of knife gangs, and like there was a machete attack there 2 weeks ago, just after the elections. It was crazy, like, you know what I mean. But I won't let my kids over there.
There's a bigger issue as well with all this. All of these attempted abductions and rapes. I mean, like, Donegal has had a massive amount of sexual assaults, and it's all been hushed up. So the media and the guards are both complicit. The guards are telling the victims not to say a word, not to go to the media, or they'll face prosecution. The media just won't touch it and won't cover it because it doesn't fit the narrative. So we're finding out about all these things, but people can't link it together in their heads. They're saying, "Oh, I saw something," but it was just flashed up on Facebook for a second, and it's only one. I suppose just the amount of time we spend piecing all the stories together, we can actually see the massive pattern. We can see that there's probably 20 or 30 incidents per day in the country, whether they be attempted abduction, sexual assaults, or just normal assaults. So like, media is complicit in this, and they need to be called out. And I'm going to say it live on air: don't pay your TV license. Do not pay your TV license. Do not.
I say it every week.
Bloody cent. Do not give them anything. That organization needs to be crippled. and taken down and taken off the air. But the print media is just as bad. You know what I mean? Even when they do report things, it's page 5 or page 9, or you'll even see them suppressing stories online. That's something of importance. You actually saw it with the Migration Pact. There was Taylor Swift. Migration Pact was pushed down to the bottom of the feed. The most important treachery that our state has ever witnessed, and it wasn't reported. So it's imperative that anybody watching, you need to talk to people, you need to have conversations with people, you need to share stuff on social media. There's nothing wrong with sharing a story 2 or 3 times. If something horrific has happened, keep putting it out there. Don't let it get. There's so many victims that get forgotten in this country. And it actually makes me sick about the whole Cathal Crotty story and the Natasha one. I have a big issue with this because in relation to crime, right? So a crime was committed, a man was arrested, a man was charged, a man was convicted, found guilty, convicted, a man was sentenced. So the criminal justice system is working fine up until that point. The judge made his decision. That's the judge's conscience has, that's his decision. I'm not going to question that. But this lady then got a protest march. She got airtime. Somebody, I don't know if that was a joke or not, but they're talking about somebody putting a statue up over in Limerick.
Oh, somebody said that. But can I just say something there, Martin? I have somebody posted a thing about this the other day. One of his friends, I think it was. So I'm just going to present.
Yeah, I read it. Yeah.
Give us a second. Did you read it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are we there? There we are. There. I'll read it out anyway. But they were told not to share the videos because they could compromise the case. Crotty is a local Clare lad, and he was goaded into this attack by her. He hit her and she cried victim. I'm ex-Defence Forces. I still have family in the Defence Forces. They know Crotty on a professional and personal basis. So many lads are left pissed off because she's getting away with this and being made a superstar for it. She attempted to bite a lad's face in 2018, and when he pushed her off him, she called the cops and did him for assault. All of these videos and stuff will start popping up now. The cops told Crotty he'd get done if he or his friends shared any of the build-up of the assault on social media. She didn't say anything about the 3,000 Crotty gave her, or the fact that she herself was calling Crotty a faggot and he likes it up the arse. This is what she was supposed to have said. Or that the fact that she'd hit him first, or the fact that when he walked away, she stayed abusing him and called him a coward for not fighting back like a man. Her friends and family know the truth, and his friends have videos on what actually happened, but were told not to share them because they could compromise the case. Crotty is a local Clare. Yeah, okay, that's the one I read a minute ago. But yeah, basically, they're saying what she's saying didn't happen, and I'd like to see the videos, because I'm sure the videos will surface, because these things are never kept hush hush, you know what I mean?
And you know what it was also startling? So yeah, we've read that and posts similar to that as well, where seemingly she hit him first in the face and scratched his face, etc. Yeah. And he reacted. Now, I'm not in favor of hitting women, but that she hit him first, and that was never brought up in the media at all. If that is the case, people should have a right to know what the facts are before making decisions. Maybe the judge in the case knew more about this case than we've been told in the media. But one thing which is very clear is that I'm sure you've seen a video of a girl in Limerick, in the same city. She was on the street. She was punched out by an African guy on the street, and there was no a whisper about that at all. So a girl can be punched straight out in the middle of the street, but because it's done by a non-Irish guy, that's okay. The great and the good are quiet on it.
Yeah, the double standards are
this double standards of pleas for justice, etc., and retribution and punishment simply only applies if it's an Irish guy does it. It doesn't apply to non-Irish nationals.
Yeah. Someone just said, "No, fuck that, Herman. Don't conflate defending yourself with hitting women." That's not what Herman said. You know what I mean? So,
sorry?
Someone posted
I'm not in favor of hitting a woman under any circumstances.
Yeah. No, none of us said that. None of us said that. So no. Yeah. So no. But she cried victim there, and Rosa and all of these crowds jumped on board with that. We were talking about that girl earlier that done the video with the Irish Inquiry. Not one of them jumped on board with her. That girl was
Where's
brutally raped for hours.
where's her protest? Yeah, where's her
Exactly.
protest? You know,
There we
where's
have
her
it.
GoFundMe? It's just the like I said, I sympathize with any person who is a victim of violence, male, female, whatever. Like, I mean, if you're a victim of any form of violence, violence is wrong. Okay, it should be avoided at all costs. And everybody has my sympathy, but I cannot bear hypocrisy. I cannot bear the state using certain we'll say victims that as the story kind of unfolds a little bit more, not quite the victim she makes out to be, using that for political game. And at the end of the day, they used her to push the hate speech bill, where there's actual real victims of real violence that have to suffer every single day, and there's nothing done for them. There's absolutely nothing done for them. You know what I mean? There's houses. I know people in the guards. They're going to houses 2-3 times a night where there's women getting battered every single night. There's nothing done about it. You know what I mean? Where's their protest? You know, and this lady was.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's like I can't bear it. I cannot bear the hypocrisy and the double standards, and it does have to change. And like, there's always been violence against women in every society, every country, everywhere. We've done really well as a nation to remove it over the years and to make it a completely taboo subject. You know what I mean? There's always going to be incidents, and there's always going to be bad people. You know what I mean? But we've kept them to a minority. Now we're importing in people. It's like we've got to reset back to square one, because we're importing people who do not have any respect for women's rights whatsoever, and that's going to seep into society. And what happens is this starts becoming the norm. You know what I mean? If your domestic violence and your violence against women starts to creep up, and instead of just one case per week or one case per month, it's 20 or 30 cases per month, that becomes the norm, and then society just kind of shrugs their shoulders and go, oh, well, that's how life is now. I won't accept that. I will not accept that. We need to do better for all our citizens, male and female, and there's men who suffer from domestic violence as well. And you know what I mean? There's kids that suffer too. Like, so it's we need to remove the double standards, and obviously, look, there has to be harsher punishments for any form of violence or antisocial behavior. You know what I mean? Because people will do the crime if they think there's no time. So, like, we really have to look at this.
Absolutely.
But the Irish Freedom Party policy on justice is it's something we should actually promote, because a lot of the parties out there say, "Oh, we're the party of law and order." They are in their holes. The Irish Freedom Party is the party of law and order, because we will hold people to account. And like I said, you know, do you need more prisons? Absolutely, we do. You know, in the long term, you don't want them, but right now we need more prisons, and there needs to be more custodial sentences and harsher punishments for people who engage in antisocial behavior, in any form of domestic violence. In, you know, it's a case of maybe we should start looking at the strike policy. You know what I mean? That you often hear people with 17, 18, 19 convictions. Maybe we should go with a three strike rule. That's it. You get your chance, and we'll give you a second chance. And on the third one, you're going to the slammer.
Yeah, but there's five. I was reading an article last week. I think there's 5,000 people in our prisons. This is the most we've ever had in the prisons at any one time, and 50% of them are foreign.
Yeah,
So,
the prisons are absolutely over. But sure, I think when they were going to build a new prison is now an IPAS.
It's an IPAS, yeah, the Thornton Hall, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yes, Thornton Hall. Was it Thornton Hall in Ashburn? County Meath?
Yeah, that was supposed to be one.
It's incredible. Like, to say, look, it's at least 1/3 of our hotel beds are turned over, funded by the state, taking away tourist beds. And we got rid of tourists, and we're now subsidizing welfare tourists in these hotels. We're destroying, as Orla has pointed out, the whole tourist economy in Ireland. We're destroying that. And Thornton Hall, which is supposed to be, or was supposed to be, a new state-of-the-art and very large prison, now that's not happening. And instead, it's been used as a accommodation place for people who claim that they're asylum seekers. So I don't know, like, the priorities of our country, we've got to have a complete reorientation of our country for the benefit of Irish people. We're not put on earth to provide free stuff for people who land on a Ryanair flight into Ireland. It's not our job. we have got to put, as Irish citizens, Irish nationals in Ireland, this is good. Like, that's why people have nation states, because we want to work for the benefit of the Irish people and for the Irish nation, continuation of ourselves as a people with a culture and with a future. That's what we want. And if we've got to oppose everybody who's against that.
Yeah.
And ultimately, we've got to place in front of people's eyes not only the protection, the stopping, the slowdown and the stopping of immigration into Ireland. We've got to turn people's eyes towards, and you know what? We've got lots of young people abroad, and we've got to bring our young people home.
Yeah. And there's nothing for them to come
This
home
is
for
our
now. Let's be
homeland.
honest, isn't it?
Irish people should be at least able to be. We want to think about giving our children the possibility of finding a job, finding a house, and having a future in Ireland. And if we cannot provide the very basic possibility of that, we have failed as a country.
Yeah.
So at the minute, Ireland is a failed state because it doesn't provide that for its own children. And we've got to turn this whole political establishment around. We have got to give a forthright ideological opposition to those who want to put our Irish people second class in our own country. And we've got to put, no, this is Ireland. Irish people come first. Everything else is completely secondary. And if anything gets in the way, we got to stop it.
Yeah.
You mentioned Ryanair there for a while ago. Any chance of getting Michael O'Leary on board and throwing a few quid Irish Freedom Party's way for the general election? he's on our side. Yeah.
I don't know if he is, Martin. I've seen him in action a few times. As a guy who cares more about his Ryanair share price than anything to do with the good of the Irish people. Remember that this guy is very politically active. He's very, and he said so explicitly, and he's very, very pro-EU. And he has, in various referenda, I think the the abortion referendum, and I think a Lisbon II referendum, they basically, as far as I remember, give free flights for people to come home for people as long as they voted yes in these referenda. So he's completely pro-establishment figure who can be very eloquent and can say things against this establishment and even against the EU. But when it comes to the crunch, when it comes to votes, he will flip over and he just is he will act as a tool for the Irish establishment.
Right, no membership.
Which is sad because that video that you referred to was very good, where he basically lays out in very clear language what we've been saying for years about people just flying in and getting rid of their passports, etc., etc. And he says, as we've said, which is very clear, that we're being taken for a ride.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I wanted to run with something here. Okay, there was a gripped. Ben asked your man Joe O'Brien, Antifa Joe, about white privilege. So let's go with this because this is what they're talking about now, white privilege. I'm not feeling it at all now, to be honest with you, but we'll go with this and we'll come back.
Minister, as you know, many of the so-called anti-racist NGOs which your department funds promote the idea of white privilege, the idea that all white people are inherently privileged because of their skin colour. Isn't that a racist idea in and of itself? And is this a good use of taxpayer money?
I disagree. I don't think the concept of white privilege is a racist concept, and we fund different organisations through different departments that I work in, and some of them may use that language and they're entitled to. We fund them under specific objectives. They apply for grants, and if they fulfil the criteria under those grant applications, they can qualify for funding from the department.
How is it not racist? I mean, if you were to make a broad brush generalization about any other racial group and say all black people are inherently privileged, for example, you would say that's an offensive statement, I presume.
I suppose white privilege talks about power and who's got the power in a society as well. It will differ from society to society as well. And I think it's a relevant concept to put out there in terms of Irish society.
White privilege, eh?
That man
I wonder during the famine, I wonder how many Irish people felt the white privilege as they were starving in the ditches.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gee, like, we don't
And-
have to
and
go
you know
back-
what?
We don't have to go back that far. Sorry, we don't have to go back to the famine every time we want to talk about this nonsense. And I'm going to go on a rant now because this critical race stuff is absolute. It's poisonous, and we
is.
cannot
It's
let
toxic,
it creep into our we cannot let it creep into our society. It's here already, but we have to fight back against it. There are people in this country right now, Irish citizens, who are making a choice between putting fuel in the car, having heating, or having food. Right? Nobody can talk to me about white privilege. How dare they? How dare anyone say to me and my people that we have white privilege? We conquered nobody. We were oppressed for 800 years and fought for tooth and nail for every single ounce of our freedom. How dare they? They should be held to account for even mentioning the term white privilege to an Irish citizen. You would save that crap for America or colonial states or anything and see what flies there. In Ireland, I will not accept that term. I will not accept it.
I agree with you.
These people disgust me when they start talking about stuff like that. I mean, I came from a relatively okay background. We're not wealthy, okay, but there's times in my life where I made mistakes when I was younger. I slept on park benches. You know what I mean? I had no food. There are people who've had it way worse than me that I know that are still struggling to this very day, that have been the same age bracket as me, but life hasn't been as kind, or they haven't been as lucky or fortunate with you know, and they struggle to keep the lights on. They're getting the letters with the red writing on them and coming in the door every single day. How dare they? How absolutely dare they? Rant over about this stuff. Boils my blood.
And can I just add in one thing that this idea of white, like the Irish people, we never identified as white. We were under Britain, occupied by a foreign power, and guess what? They were the same color as us, weren't they? So we never distinguished by nationality and by religion. We never distinguished by color of our skin. And we had very little contact with other cultures and people of other colors. So, like, as Kevin Sharkey said, the first time we seen a black guy in Ireland was he was 13. So we never identified as white. So the imposition of this intersectional, interracial baloney from America, and we've just seen this Ebon Joseph appointed by that same idiot O'Brien into some anti-racist campaigner, basically race grievance hustler is what she is. She's a complete chancer. And do you know what about her? She's from the Aru tribe in Nigeria. Her father is a king in this tribe. She is actually a highborn princess, right, in Nigeria. And the Aru tribe historically took the Igbo tribe as slaves. The Aru are slave traders. So she is the highborn daughter of a tribe of slave traders. And she has an absolute neck, like a Jackie's whatever.
Jackie's Behulux.
Yeah. To come over here and lecture Irish people on, and then she talks about collective guilt. And
I actually have the video there.
There's nobody more corrupt than that woman, who is a basically grievance hustler. She's a complete chancer, and we're idiots for allowing that one to even have any input into Irish culture at all. She should be, I don't know, I think what you could do with Ribena. I don't know. I won't say anymore.
She said Ribena was racist. That's what she said in 2020.
Ribena is racist. This is the idiotic baloney that we hear from this one. It's just like, look, we should stop being taken for a ride by these people. Like, if she's unhappy here, go back to Nigeria. We don't need you. We don't want you. Goodbye and good riddance. That's the best thing that we can say to Ebon Joseph.
I have a video here. I'm just going to play it here. We'll come back for a minute.
When we look at race, it's because race is and was meant to exclude others. So we're living in a system that is set up to exclude others. We're living in a system where your race is assigned without your consent. Nobody asked me, what race do you want to be? I want to be Caucasian. No, If I went around and said I'm Caucasian, they're like, no, Ebon, you need a psychologist, or you need casting out of devils or something. You know, they would probably pray for me. You know, if I went to an African church and I said I was Caucasian, don't just pray for me like she's got a devil in her. They'll think she's gone mad, you know. So it's not, nobody asks you. It's ascribed, it's written on your body, you embody it, you carry it. So the amazing thing about it is that it comes at a cost. That's where race becomes problematic. That it is not value free. We all missed, your wonderful talk. Yes, I missed your talk today. I was raging because I missed Lisa's talk. So I don't know if you gave us the foundation again of race and the value and how that changes across time and space. It is not value free. I ask a question. Society is equal. By a show of hands, you think society is equal? You think society is unequal? By a show of hands. Fantastic. I love to always be in a room of like-minded people. So we know that society is unequal. The question is, what does inequality mean? Who is at the top and who is at the... That's what inequality is. We know that. Why we don't go is the impact, the lived reality of that inequality.
Now, lads, that woman is a nut job. She is a spacer, that one is now, I'm telling you. Come on. The shite she's had to be spouting there, like, you know what I mean? Look,
do you know
it's always been like that.
Do you know who Ibram X. Kennedy is?
Ibram X. Kennedy, no.
Yeah, so he's US based. He's sort of like the modern day father of this nonsense. He wrote some books on critical race theory. Now it's built on stuff that goes back to the 70s and the 80s, but it's all based on this grifter, and he's been found out to be a grifter. And he was basically just scamming money from universities and scamming money, and he's gone quiet now. But all of her talking points they're the word for word what this guy spouts. Yeah, I mean the reality is race has nothing to do with it. But what kind of defines your level in the world is more to do with geography than anything. If you're born in a shitty country, more than likely your life's going to be shitty. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter color. It doesn't matter what color of skin you have or what nationality you have. If you're born in Beverly Hills to rich parents, you're probably going to have a pretty okay life. You know, that's just a reality. There's none of like this is the thing about the race grifters, right? If the country, if your country is shit, fix it. You know what I mean? Fix it. Do what we're doing. You know what I mean? Our country is a bit shit at the minute. I'm out there trying to fix it. Herman's there trying to fix it. Orla's trying to fix it. You're trying to fix it. You know what I mean? That's what you do. We don't run away. We try and face the problems. But these race grifters, they run from their own problems, come to a different country, point out loads of non-existent problems in that country, and go, "I'll fix it all for you." You know, these people are cowards. I call them for what they are. They're absolutely cowards. If you had any sort of fortitude or belief in what you were saying, you would be in your native country and you would be fighting tooth and nail to actually, we'll say, pull your people up from poverty or war or whatever atrocities you're facing. You don't come to another country that's already established and built and start pointing out flaws and faults.
Yeah, exactly. Your mic is off, Herman. Hang on.
Can you hear?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Could you imagine for a second going to Nigeria and getting in front of a large hall and giving them lectures criticizing Africans for what they've done in Ireland? Could you imagine it? Can you imagine it? And or in Nigeria? And could you imagine the reception you would get? And do you know that in Nigeria, you cannot become a citizen without proving legitimate, it's jus sanguinis in Nigeria. For you have to show that you have Nigerian parents and grandparents. You just can't march, you just can't walk into Nigeria. You'd be deported immediately. You cannot get citizenship unless you can show that you are a genuine Nigerian national or Nigerian parentage. And anyway, we've got to make very clear, irrespective of what color they are, they try to hide behind that, this victim carry on, that this intersectional nonsense that they spout, that bottom line is she and people like her are colonizing our country. Like, just because she's black, we don't owe these people anything. We never colonized their country. We owe them nothing. She is over here eating on our plates in our country, at our universities. She's taking up space. She's taking up money. She is a colonialist. She's a colonizer. And the best thing she could do, especially is going to complain about Ireland, is to leave and go back to your own country.
Yeah.
No need to complain about Ireland. Beat it.
Yeah.
Beat it back to Nigeria.
I wonder
Exactly.
if that
That's like-
role. Sorry, Paul, just
Go ahead.
I wonder if her role was advertised. That's
Okay,
that's a state role. So
Mm.
legally, that role would have to been advertised, and they would have had to go through a recruitment process. Am I right saying that for a state job they can't legally bypass that? It'd be very interesting to see if there was an interview process for that role, or did they just would they create a role and just ram her in there, because it's like that process alone, it's just that it'll be them just circumventing the laws as well. But it'd be really interesting to see if anybody else got an opportunity, if an Irish person got an opportunity to apply for that role and be interviewed for that role. Be a question for Gripped Media if you're watching.
But did you hear what she said? Can I put our hands up there? And then she said, it's great to be in a room with like-minded people, because there's no one there to question her and to call her out for her bullshit. You know what I mean? This is the way it works. This is a state-run media. The state run everything. Like, you know what I mean? That we don't get a look in. You want the likes of Gavin Pepper in there, or yourself, Herman, there asking questions to her, and she wouldn't be able to answer them. I'm telling you now.
And it's basically, look, it's Marxism by another guy. It's just like green ideology, what's a watermelon politics, green on the outside, red on the inside. All this grievance carry on. It's a kind of cultural Marxism, but like they want to remedy the grievances of anybody, self-proclaimed victims by what? By stealing other people's property, money, houses, freedoms, rights. That's what they want to do. They want to remedy by taking your stuff, someone else's stuff, never their own stuff. And like the things that are on the go at the minute, will probably come up. This right to housing for all, and the idea of housing for anybody resident, any Irish resident, anybody resident in Ireland, not even for Irish citizens. So they want to steal other people's property. It's all about stealing stuff and handing it over to someone who hasn't worked for it and doesn't own it. It's basically just Marxism. That's all it is.
Definitely, yeah. I have a video there. Okay, I'm just going to go with this here. This is Dublin again. I'm just going to show you this one. Today, Corey getting a smack of a hammer. Now, I don't know whether he was foreign or what he was, but he got the
Didn't see that. Fucking hell.
It's disgraceful. This is where we're living.
What was it? Did he just punch a random guy in the street?
Him and your man, it seems. No, I only seen that bit. That's the only bit of the video I've seen. It seems your man and him had a row. I don't know whether your man was foreign or Irish or whatever. Your man took out a hammer, clunked him on the head. The two of them hit the deck, and your man walked away. Like, this is Dublin in the middle of the afternoon. Like, how are our streets safe? This is ridiculous. Like, it's gone beyond the joke now at this stage. Like, you know, it really has.
I'm sure Simple Simon has his 8-point plan though. It'll all be grand.
Yeah. Okay. I have a video there from Matty McGrath asking the Taoiseach about the kids that's missing in state care. I'm just going to run with that and we'll come back and talk to that for a minute.
Taoiseach, all is not well in this state regarding children. There are 39 children missing in state care. Just think of that. Second last week before we break up for the summer recess. 39 children missing in state care. We need another debate here on Tusla. I see where one Garda sergeant and 3 Gardaí are suspended from duty and are indeed facing charges of professional negligence of justice, burglary of flats and false imprisonment. And we see when a Tusla employee, a police commissioner, is charged with forging a search warrant. Those are all very serious charges, and innocent or proven guilty by 100%, I agree with that, but all is not well with Tusla. And we need an urgent debate here and question and answer with the Minister for Children especially. Imagine 39 children missing in state care. We walk in now to here and raise all kinds of issues. We had a children's referendum, and we all have children's rights and everything else, and this charade going on. Missing from state care with no accountability, not a shred of it. We seriously need to debate this and have questions and answers with the Minister for Children. He says he has utmost faith in Tusla, never had missed a night's sleep over Tusla, but I certainly don't have, and many more people don't have.
Thank you very much. The proposed arrangements for the week's business. Sorry. He did say the Taoiseach said, was it about Tusla? Yeah.
And now you're referencing it in the Dáil.
Oh, where's the rights down?
They're in the Constitution. They're in the Constitution.
Sorry,
yeah.
Please. Are the proposed arrangements for the week's business agreed?
So at least he's bringing her up. At least he's bringing up. Bro Gorman just sitting there staring him over. Did you see it? Like
why isn't he? Oh, the three of them. The three of them.
Yeah.
Sitting there.
Yeah. 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 It's disgraceful. Like it really is. You know what I mean? Come on. You know, like in America, if that was happening, BJ's the Congress, it'd be calling this out, and there'd be committing judicial committee meetings and everything else. Like, why does that not happen here? Why is Matty McGrath the only one talking about it? You know what I mean? It beggars belief, like it really does, and it is shameless. There's people putting up there, it's shameless, and it is. I'm just looking at the comments there again. No questions asked. There we go. Yeah. Not only was said taking elderly homes, no questions asked. The children are not safe. Tusla is a child sex ring operator. Okay, we don't know. Shameless. But isn't your man, the Count Corley, is he not the chairman of Tulsa or something like that? The Count Corley. I think he's a big role in Tulsa. Yeah, or Tulsa, whatever you call it. But,
I'm not aware.
Yeah, no, I think he is. Yeah, I definitely think he is. Yeah. But, yeah, that's the Matty McGrath one. So I have another little video there I just want you to watch as well. I say this every time I'm on here. I talk about the great climate hoax and this, that, and the other, and how many hoaxes we've had in my 55 years. I've had 5 of them, and this little video is two and a half minutes long, and it goes through the 5 of them with you. So I'll just go with this and you can hear.
Did you ever wonder about the environmental predictions that never came true? It's quite a fascinating journey when we look back and see what we believed would be the end of our world. Turn the clock back to the 1960s. The prediction of the day was that we would run out of oil in 10 years, a fear that sent ripples throughout the world, leading governments to impose new taxes, supposedly to fund alternatives and save the remaining oil. Fast forward to the present, and it's clear that this prediction, while alarming, never came to pass. Next stop, the 1970s. The threat this time, an impending ice age expected to arrive in 10 years. Again, the panic button was hit and taxes were raised to supposedly fund research and solutions to this chilling prediction. Yet, the feared ice age never came, and those taxes, well, they never left. Moving on to the 1980s, the buzzword was acid rain. The narrative was that acid rain was going to destroy all our crops in 10 years. The solution? More taxes, of course, this time to combat this new environmental threat. However, a decade later, our crops were still standing and the acid rain prediction was a distant memory. Next, we hit the 1990s. The ozone layer was the topic on everyone's lips, with claims it would be destroyed in 10 years. Cue the introduction of more taxes to fight this new menace. Yet here we are decades later. And while the ozone layer has had its issues, it's far from destroyed. In the 2000s, the prediction was that the ice cap was going to melt in 10 years. The solution? Yes, you've guessed it, more taxes. Fast forward to today, and while the ice caps are indeed melting, it's at a significantly slower rate than the 10-year deadline that had been predicted. And now, as we stand in 2023, we're told to reduce CO2. The taxes are already here, implemented swiftly as we brace ourselves for another environmental prediction. So what's the common thread here? Every decade an environmental prediction is made, often sparking fear and concern worldwide. Yet each one seems to miss its mark. What doesn't miss, however, are the taxes that follow each prediction. They come, they rise, and they stay. In summary, environmental predictions have been a part of our history for over half a century. Each decade brings a new prediction, a new fear. But as we've seen, these predictions often don't materialize as expected. Yet, the taxes that accompany them are very real, and they have a lasting impact. It's crucial to be aware, to question, and to understand the realities behind these predictions and their subsequent taxes. After all, history, as they say, often repeats itself.
Now, I think we're all around the same age. Well, me and Herman aren't anyway, but I remember every one of them. Every one of them.
Paul, I think I'm slightly younger than you.
Yeah, by a month.
Be careful now. I think I'm about a month younger, okay? Don't be putting me in your bracket now.
I know, but like,
do you not ever buy the hair dye, lads, you know?
What?
I said, would you not buy the hair dye, no?
No.
I don't have enough hair to justify it.
I've been going grey since I was 19 or 20. Like, you know what I mean? Seriously, like, my wedding pictures when I was 28, I was grey. I had a bit of black, but it was grey. You know what I mean? But,
It's all right. Me and Martin are the young ones, so it's grand.
Yeah.
Not that young anymore.
Well, Martin looks as though he hasn't got a worry in the world with all that black hair. You know what I mean? And the big beard and the whole lot. You know.
I'm actually looking at the color of my face. I've got very, very, very red there. But I think just the last two clips there drove my blood pressure through the roof. I was actually digging my nails into my knees, going, "Don't say it, don't say it, don't say it."
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but look, the climate scam is the climate scam. We know it is. I mean, it's bloody freezing out today. It's due. They're talking about global warming, and you know what I mean. It hasn't stopped raining. There's constant clouds, this kind of grey dullness all the time. I don't know. Are they designing it just to depress us that we can't see blue sky anymore or something? I don't know. Yeah. But like the weather patterns change. They do, and the biggest factor that changes weather patterns on the planet is solar activity. You know what I mean? And so there has been some weird solar activity. But like there's definitely been a kind of a shift in the seasons. Like when I was 30 years ago, 40 years ago, when I was a kid, we had very, very defined seasons. I remember long summers.
Yeah, I remember too.
Yeah. So there's definitely been a change, but it's hubris of anybody to think that humans have any effect on climate. We can affect the environment massively, and our local environment massively. We're too small to affect climate. If the planet wanted rid of us, it would get rid of us. You know what I mean? That people don't get the scale of how giant the Earth is and how tiny we are, and we just live in these tiny little isolated areas. Like most of the Earth is empty. You know what I mean? It's just we have these tiny little pockets of cities and these tiny little rural communities, but we are so small and insignificant. We can't change the climate, even if we wanted to. Now we can change the weather. That's a fact. You know, geoengineering is real. There was floods in Dubai not so long ago that kind of highlighted the fact of when it goes wrong, it goes really, really wrong. And cloud seeding exists, and 3 states in America have banned geoengineering and cloud seeding. So that is happening. To what extent, we probably won't find out for 50 years. You know, like everything, it'll come out in dribs and drabs. But this CO2 nonsense is what it is. It's just absolutely nonsense. The biggest thing you should do to ask green people when you're talking to them is how much CO2 is actually in the atmosphere. Guarantee most won't be able to answer it. And I'm not telling anyone either. I do know, but I'm not sharing.
421 parts per million.
Good stuff.
And 3. And do you know what? I've seen an Australian scientist, forget his name. He was saying, like, look, it's impossible to prove that man-made CO2 is the cause of climate change. Why? Because they would have to prove that the 3%, which actually comes from human production, does change the climate, while 97% of CO2, which exists naturally from natural causes, doesn't change. And it says that's impossible because the chemical formula of carbon dioxide is exactly the same. So they say that 3% does change it and 97% doesn't change it. It's just baloney. What changes the climate, as Martin says, there's solar activity. People should look up the Milankovitch cycles. It was a Serbian geophysicist who came up with theory over 100 years ago that it's the rotation and oscillation, the three-way oscillation of the sun in relation to the Earth, the Earth in relation to the sun, which changes the climate. He came up with a theory over 100 years ago using statistics that were only able to be collected in the 1970s. His theory was shown to be correct, and it's accepted. And I would urge people to go and look at there's a PBS series in United States, and there's a certain series called the EON series, where it has extremely well researched videos, and it basically looks at when, for example, Europe was much colder than it is today, when there were hairy mammoths in the southern part of Spain, and further back when the climate was much warmer, and where you had plants and you had animals in the Antarctic, which would be unthinkable today. And of course, in those times when the temperature was much higher and much lower, also carbon dioxide levels were much higher than they are today, not much lower than they are today. We are at actually historically quite relatively low levels of carbon dioxide at the minute. It has increased since the Industrial Revolution. But hey, everything starts when do you start taking the measurements? But if you go back through thousands of years, that the climate has been, global climate has been much higher, much lower, and CO2 levels have been much higher than they are today. And you know what? What we learned at school is that carbon dioxide is necessary for photosynthesis. NASA has even shown since 1995 that the increased carbon dioxide levels have increased the greening, have helped the greening of the planet with more trees and bushes, etc. So actually CO2 is good. It's necessary for photosynthesis. It is actually good as plant food. So this CO2 phobia, we should actually push against it and just call it out for what it is. Silliness and hysteria. That's all it is.
I agree.
And it's all based on projections and models. They can prove that carbon dioxide, man-made carbon dioxide, is the cause of climate change. They just can't prove it.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
And what I will say is about the CO2 levels. Do you know Alan Jones? He's a guy from Sky News Australia. He done a little clip on this on the 0.3% of. I'm gonna just play this. He made a mockery of it now, so I'm just gonna play this and we'll come back for a minute. This will be the last video, and then we're smart. Somebody keeps switching at me. Mike keeps saying the host is doing it, but I'm not doing it. But listen, we'll play this and we'll come back.
What is climate change? I mean, I think the question that the young lady asked over here is very valid. Young people are highly intelligent, but I wonder whether they're being told, or which they're entitled to, all the facts in relation to this.
Oh my.
When I asked, well, just a moment, Alice, you've been speaking for most of the night. When I asked Tanya Plibersek, was the Deputy Leader of the Labor Party and the potential Deputy Prime Minister, was carbon dioxide the big issue in relation to climate change? And she said yes. I then said, well, that being the case, what percentage of the atmosphere is made up of carbon dioxide? What is causing climate change? Is it carbon dioxide?
Yes, carbon dioxide pollution is a major contributor.
Okay, so can I ask you, this is not a trick question, what percentage of the Earth's air is carbon dioxide?
Oh, I don't know.
And I say, hang on, you don't know what percentage of the atmosphere is carbon dioxide, and yet you're prepared to stand the economy on its head to address a problem, the detail of which you don't know. So when I then explain that the percentage of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, Alice, is how much? Alice? How much of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere?
To answer the question, Scott Morrison has said he believes in climate change and that he wants to do something about it.
Alice, how much carbon dioxide is the problem? How much carbon dioxide is there in the atmosphere?
I'm not a scientist. I don't know. I'm a
well, hang on. If you're going to argue the case, you ought to know. It's 0.04%. And of that 0.04%, human beings around the world create 3%. And of that 3%, Australia creates 1.3%. But if carbon dioxide is 0.04% of the atmosphere, and human beings are responsible for 3% of that 0.04%, And Australia's responsible for 1.3% of the 3% of the 0.04%. It's like saying there's a granule of sugar on the Harbour Bridge. Clean the bridge up, it's dirty. Surely if a political party doesn't know the quantum of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, what the hell are we standing the economy on its head for? Demonising coal-fired power, driving everyone into renewable energy, which is not available, not reliable and not affordable, plonking us in electric cars, giving us nearly the dearest electricity in the world when we're rich in energy resources, exporting coal so that China and India and Japan can have cheap electricity, and we sit here swallowing this ideological rubbish, putting industry at risk, jobs at risk, and burying the economy.
There you have it.
He's
In a
very,
nutshell.
very good, isn't he?
He's brilliant. Brilliant, yeah. Yeah, really good.
What's his name?
Alan Jones.
Jones?
He's just Alan Jones, yeah.
Alan
yeah.
Jones.
Alan Jones, yeah. Yeah. He's a Sky News reporter in Australia. But he's very good. He's called them out a few times on it.
You do know that RT will not allow any debate on climate change to be broadcast on RT. That is actually in the rules of RT. It's quite incredible, isn't it? So they talk about diversity, but they believe in every type of diversity except diversity of opinion. And they will not allow anybody coming in contradicting what is an ideology. It's like a new religion, actually, because you see these young ones running around doing silly stuff. It was if they're in a cult, a doomsday cult. That's what they're being formed into in the schools and universities, a doomsday cult where the life is terrible. And it's like, you may remember as you're a kid about the chicken licking and turkey lurkey and the sky's going to fall down. But that's okay when you're like 3 and 4. But they actually believe this in their 20s and 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
There's a guy down here in Carlow, right, on Facebook, and he goes under Carlow Weather. And I saw a post there, it was only just a few days ago. And he said that if anybody put in any comments in relation to geoengineering, he was going to block them.
Okay.
Now, what does that say?
Yeah.
Like, somebody could have just asked a basic, just question about something.
Yeah.
And he actually put it out there and said, if anybody puts any comments up on the page, he's going to block them.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, you know what? But the thing is, RT is a national broadcaster subsidized by the taxpayer, and they refuse any debate on this topic, which is incredible. Yeah. And I think if their arguments were so strong, why wouldn't they want to bring on people, debate it, and like publicly humiliate them? And that's what, if they've got all the arguments and the facts ready for action.
The science. They have the science.
Yeah. Trust the science.
And once a scientist said, a scientist has found this, everyone believes it. Because scientists have found nothing. It's all bullshit. It's bullshit. And like, again, I say it every other week, you will not sell diesel cars. You will not sell electric cars if diesel is 120 a litre. That's just the cold hard facts here. You know what I mean? And they're pushing these electric cars out, and every second car you see broke down is an electric car, if not every car that's broke down now. You see them on the back of lorries every day. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous, like, this Green New Deal, it's never going to work out. It's going to cost billions and billions and billions for bullshit. That's exactly what it is. I'm sorry for that.
And look at all those electric cars going on fire as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
There's a few
contributing to global warming.
Yeah. There's a few
keep warm in the car.
There's a few big car manufacturers abandoning their electric car programs now because it's costing a fortune. We all know the markets decide an awful lot, and as soon as the share prices start dropping, the nonsense gets stopped. So
the markets have already decided that EVs are going out of fashion. Simple. Like the government can tax and subsidize all they like, but the consumer has decided that the EVs aren't going to rock.
Yeah. I feel sorry for anyone who's actually bought one, because if you actually check the resale value of them, it's about that.
Well, don't bring it up. You're going to upset an awful lot of people.
I see the guy selling a Tesla there on adverts there a few weeks ago for 22 grand. Now, it was a 2021 or something like that, but surely, Jesus, 2020, he would have paid 50 grand for that thing. And to lose 25 grand in a year.
You can't shift it. No, they've no resale value whatsoever. Nobody wants them second hand.
Look, but none of the car crowds are taking them in or anything. They're not taking in second-hand ones. You know what I mean? Like, you'll get a second-hand diesel car. I have a mate, right, that bought a Lexus, right, a hybrid Lexus in 2017. I think it was 3-year-old, and he has that 7 years, and he'll get the same money he nearly paid for that now, because of the price of second-hand cars. People can't afford to be buying new cars. You know what I mean? So, like, his car, it's a Lexus. It's like a brand new car. He keeps it smashing, like, you know what I mean? So there's no need for him to sell it. But he'll get the same money. He'll get 20 grand nearly for that car, and it's a 141. You know what I mean? Crazy.
Yeah. Very good.
Well, now, what was I going to say? We're going to finish up there now in a minute. So what are we asking now? Any independents or anything want to come into the fold with us? Are more than welcome.
Yeah, especially members of the Independent Ireland Party. I would ask that their members and the candidates and those who were elected councillors will be very welcome. If you're an Irish nationalist, you believe you want the best for Irish people in our own country, you want a free people in a free country, you're very welcome to join the Irish Freedom Party. I understand and appreciate your huge sense of betrayal by a new group in the European Parliament signing up to this European Democratic Party and all its policies, and it's completely the opposite of what they presented themselves at pre the election. So you're more than welcome to join a genuine, moderate national party that believe in individual freedom and national sovereignty. So come and join the party. It's fun.
Good man.
Well said, Herman. Well said.
Yeah, well said. Yeah. But I think we'll end it up there now, lads. Will we? I tell you, it turned out to be a good show in the end. We're over 2,000 there. Great. It was a great night, I have to say.
Yeah.
Thanks, Orla. Thanks, Martin. Thanks, Herman.
No problem.
And
Cheers,
thanks
lads.
for Anthony for coming on. So I'm going to finish it off there. So we'll finish it up then, and we'll talk later on. See you later, guys. See you, Martin.
Good
See ya.
luck.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
EOI.
Well, there you have it. And turned out to be a great night so far. You know what I mean? This is the first live. So we went over 2,000. We've been flying here now. And we've got through all the comments there. There's a couple more comments there. Sounds like a party, lol. Jack Bourton blocked under his name. Thanks, Paul and panel, and for the chat. Fair play. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. And I hope to see you again, because we're going to jump onto this again now. You know what I mean? I'll do this again now during the week. I'll probably do a Friday again. If we'll see. Whatever pops up, we'll pop up with this show, and we'll bring it to the audience. So again, it's the truth again. I won't do my truth as like a lion thing, because you all know that's all we do is tell the truth here. So thank you very much for joining us tonight on Ireland Live, and we hope to see you again during the week. Good night and God bless.